Good afternoon, everybody. This is for our groups dynamics and therapy class. This is discussion number 10. And the question for today is please discuss what you have learned in this course to date and what will stay with you throughout your practice. I think one of the first things I have learned from this course is that each person is different. Each group is different. No group will be the same. There may be some overlap, but ultimately, each group is different. And with that, I should expect to see that each group is different and try not to mold it or mesh it into being the same group, specifically because there are so many different people, so many different characteristics, so many different aspects. And with that being said, it's important to remember that each group will be different, and it's okay if they're different. Some may be good, some may not work out the way we think it in our minds to, and just to know that that's okay. There's nothing wrong with that. Group therapy does take a lot of practice, it takes a lot of work, and it takes a lot of patience. But there is no one thing that works for each group, and it's okay to explore other alternatives just to ensure that you have a successful group. With that being said, another thing that I've learned from this course is that you will encounter so many different people. And in the process of encountering so many different people, there is always an opportunity to learn from other people. We're in a field where information is always evolving, and there's nothing that will come up that would be null information or information that would not be useful. Even if it's not useful or we don't think it's helpful at the moment, that does not mean that it's not useful. But it may serve as something for us to put in our mental banks so that we can use for future reference. That's something I believe I also learned from this course. Another thing that I've learned is that for me personally, I think it's okay to not have all the answers. Sometimes I believe that, or sometimes we may believe that counselors should have all the answers. And we may not have all the answers. And with that, it's okay to not have all the answers. But to not have all the answers all the time would be a bad thing. I'm not saying that we should never be in a space where we do not have answers, but there may be things that throw us off course to where we may not have the answer, and that's okay. We don't have to try to run around and salvage trying to get answers or trying to make up answers just for the fact to appease a client or to make us feel better. It's okay to not have all the answers all the time. And another thing that I believe I've learned from this course is the value of sharing. Sharing is so powerful, and a lot of times we get we get not so much despondent, but we get very secluded when it comes to sharing. And I've learned that sharing is something that can be done and is helpful to do. It's okay to share. It's okay to disclose with the right purpose and with the right intent. It's okay. We don't have to feel like we have to keep everything to ourselves, that we can share us, who we are, our strengths, our weaknesses, our makeups, our frailties. It's okay to share all of those things. That's something that I also believe is important and that I've learned from this course. Another thing that I've learned is that each person's story is unique. Whether it's from people who we feel are not the worst offenders to those who are the worst offenders. Everybody has a story. Everybody has a default. Everybody has a proclivity. And with that, there is a story behind it. And it's important to be able to listen to that story, because in listening to that story, we're able to find the pieces of what navigated the person to go differently, to go left instead of right. And so I believe that that is something else that I've learned from this course. And finally, I think one of the last things that I've learned, which is also the most important, is that we're not alone. We're not alone. Many times we can feel like we're in life alone, or we're in our situations alone, or we're in our seasons alone. And with that, I think the biggest piece is in understanding that we are not alone. And it's okay to be able to familiarize ourselves with others just so that we don't feel like we're alone. Because I think there's strength in that, knowing that we are not by ourselves, even though the surroundings and the physical feeling may be that we are alone. It's that inner hope that lets us know that we are not alone. And so I think that those are the biggest pieces that I will take with me from this course that we've had in group dynamics and therapy. Thank you all for listening. Take care now. Bye bye.